I've spent my whole life pulling total strangers out of burning buildings and mangled cars, but I never suspected my own wife was cold-bloodedly burning our family to the ground for cheap likes and other people's cash on the internet. My devoted wife spent years playing the role of a destitute, battered victim online, raking in hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations, all while I was footing the bill for her designer bags and our elite oceanfront home. But when I triumphantly walked into her livestream wearing my full fire and rescue captain's dress uniform, her fraudulent empire crumbled in front of 5,000 shocked viewers. I work as a fire captain in a small coastal town in New South Wales, and my life is dedicated to saving people and battling the elements. My childhood was spent right here, surrounded by salt spray and harsh winds, in a place where every neighbour knows your face. My granddad and my old man were fireys too, and they taught me the ultimate Aussie rule. You always lend a helping hand to a mate doing it tough, even if it puts your own health on the line. From a young age, I saw how fire strips people of their homes, their memories, and even their loved ones, leaving nothing but black ash behind. Those tragedies left deep scars on my heart, teaching me to appreciate every single second of a quiet, peaceful life. When I joined the fire service, I swore I would become the shield that protects the vulnerable from any disaster. Every single shift is pure adrenaline, thick soot, unbearable heat, and the constant risk of not making it home for dinner. But every time I took off my heavy, smoke-stained turnout gear, I desperately dreamed of a quiet, cozy harbour where I would simply be loved. For a tough bloke like me, family was always the ultimate sanctuary, the one thing worth risking my life in the flames for. When I met Ayla, she seemed like the absolute embodiment of the purity and tenderness I was missing so badly amidst the sirens and the chaos. I loved her with all my big, trauma-scarred heart, deciding to become her absolute protector. I wanted to shield her from any injustice in this world, giving her a fairy tale where she would never know hardship. My wife, Ayla, always said she wanted to dedicate herself to raising our 2 little kids, and I was more than happy to take on the absolute financial provision for our family. I voluntarily took on the toughest shifts and worked through public holidays so she would never have to go without. To me, the highest expression of masculinity was the ability to completely shield the woman I loved from financial anxiety. I would look at our sleeping toddlers and feel tears of gratitude welling up in my eyes for this incredible miracle. We lived in a beautiful, spacious home right by the ocean. I faithfully paid every bill, spoiled her with expensive gifts, and tried to be the perfect dad, spending every free minute with the kids between brutal rosters. I was ready to give them every drop of my energy, firmly believing that our marriage was an absolutely unbreakable team. In my straightforward view of the world, love excluded any manipulation, lies, or greed. I believed that if you honestly gave someone your whole soul, they would never stab you in the back. This deep, genuine attachment made me completely blind to the alarming changes that had started happening right inside my own home. I was too consumed with caring for the community's well-being to notice the monstrous deception slithering into my bedroom like a snake. Over the past year, Ayla had started spending a suspiciously large amount of time behind the closed doors of our guest bedroom, explaining that she was running a small online support blog for young mothers. She would frequently lock herself in there for hours, claiming that exhausted, depressed women needed privacy and total silence. I tried to walk on eggshells and put the kids to bed myself, just so I wouldn't interrupt what I thought was such a noble calling. My heart swelled with pride at the thought that my wife was using her free time to save other people's broken souls. I was genuinely proud of her desire to help other women for free, and I never interfered in her business, truly believing that our marriage was filled with perfect harmony and crystal clear trust. On that fateful Tuesday morning, I kissed my wife goodbye, just like any other day. "Darling, I'll take your car down to the mechanic for its scheduled service. You just get some rest," I offered caringly, grabbing her keys off the bedside table. "Thanks, my love. You're an absolute lifesaver. I've got a really heavy live stream today with the girls from the support group," Ayla replied, with a tender, grateful smile. "Don't overdo it, and if you need me to grab anything for dinner, just shoot me a text," I added, genuinely admiring her dedication. "You're the best husband in the world," she cooed. closing the front door behind me. My blind confidence in our domestic bliss came crashing down just an hour later when I parked at the local mechanic's workshop. "Hey, Cap, pull her into Bay 3. We'll do the oil and check the brake pads right now." My mate Ben yelled out cheerily, wiping his hands on a greasy rag. "No worries, Ben. I'll just wait in the lounge. Take your time," I replied, grabbing Ayla's work tablet from the passenger seat, which she'd accidentally left behind in her rush. I sat down on the worn leather sofa in the waiting area, planning to just drink my coffee, but the device's screen suddenly lit up with dozens of relentless push notifications. The gadget was literally blowing up with an endless stream of notification chimes, blending into one annoying, continuous racket. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of alerts from crowdfunding platforms and payment gateways with terrifying messages. "Stay strong, sweetheart. Here's $100 for food for the bubs," read one of the pop-up windows. The next notification hit me even harder. "Your husband is an absolute monster. You will get out of this nightmare. We are with you." "What the hell is going on here?" I muttered aloud, feeling an icy, unpleasant chill run straight down my spine. Suspecting that her account had been hacked by scammers or that someone had stolen her identity for blackmail, I immediately unlocked the tablet. I opened her secret social media page, which, as it turned out, was followed by hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world. What I saw there literally rendered me speechless, and the air instantly left my lungs. In dozens of professionally edited videos, my well-groomed wife was sitting in front of a camera wearing an old, washed-out, stretched t-shirt. "Girls, I have nothing to feed my kids today. That tyrant has left us without a cent again." Ayla sobbed in the video, theatrically wiping away fake tears. "He drinks away all the money, and I can't even afford to buy a warm blanket for our youngest." She continued to lie straight into the lens with frightening sincerity. I sat in the mechanic's waiting room, listening to her broken, trembling voice, and felt the ground completely drop out from under my feet. In the comments section beneath the video, hundreds of deceived people were expressing their support, sending her links for cash transfers. "How can he abuse his own family like this? Call the cops. We'll help pay for a lawyer," one woman commented furiously. "I'm terrified of him. He threatens to take my babies away if I report him." My wife replied in the comments, methodically stoking panic and pity. My perfect, loving spouse was transforming right before my eyes into a cynical, calculating fraudster who had built an entire empire on other people's compassion. The woman to whom I gave every last cent of my paycheck was publicly destroying my reputation, painting me as a monster just to collect free donations. She was telling stories about me supposedly beating her and forbidding her from leaving the house, even though in reality, she visited luxury day spas every single week. I watched this theater of the absurd, completely unable to believe that a human being was capable of such dark, twisted lies. I was just being used as a convenient, faceless villain for her highly profitable online soap opera. In that exact moment, my blind love for her shattered into a million pieces, leaving behind nothing but bitter, toxic contempt. I sat in my car, feeling a wave of physical nausea rising in my throat as I watched videos of Ayla using professional makeup to paint sickly, dark bags under her eyes while spinning fabricated horror stories about my supposed alcoholism. My hands, which were used to gripping heavy fire hoses and kicking down burning doors, were now trembling with sheer helplessness in front of a thin tablet screen. In one of the videos, she wept inconsolably, claiming I had drank away the money meant for our kids' Christmas presents. The reality was that very Christmas, I had pulled a grueling triple shift at the fire station just to buy her the exact diamond necklace she had been so desperately hinting at. Every single word she spoke was dripping with toxic venom and a cold-blooded, calculated betrayal that was actively destroying everything I believed in. She filmed these videos in our own guest bedroom, deliberately moving the expensive oak furniture out of the frame to create the illusion of a cramped, squalid little slum for her viewers. In the background, she intentionally left bare walls and a cheap, flimsy cot bought with my money, exclusively to serve as props for her lying set. I could see how she masterfully adjusted the lighting to make her face look even more haggard, miserable, and backed into a corner. The most painful part was reading the comments from women who were barely making ends meet themselves, yet were transferring their last few dollars to her to buy food. Ordinary, kind-hearted people were sharing the little they had, genuinely wanting to save a desperate mother from an imaginary domestic abuser. My wife was cynically and systematically monetizing the empathy of trusting strangers, racking up over $90,000 in donations, which she secretly funneled into her own hidden bank account. $90,000 squeezed out of other people's compassion, while I risked my life every single day in smoke and flames to ensure her carefree comfort. My entire profession was built on honesty, mateship, and saving lives, while her career was based on blatant, filthy theft and the total assassination of my character. I suddenly felt an unbearable terror realizing what kind of unprincipled monster I shared a bed with and was raising my kids alongside. A person capable of such a prolonged, calculated, and cruel scam didn't possess a single drop of a conscience or genuine maternal warmth. A burning desire flared up in my chest to immediately race home, kick the door in, and smash all her studio equipment to pieces. I desperately wanted to look into her lying eyes and ask how she could possibly sleep at night after doing all this. But years of serving as a fire captain had taught me one crucial truth. Panicking in a critical situation only leads to more casualties. To extinguish this fire of betrayal, I didn't need blind, destructive rage. I needed ice-cold, flawless tactics. Instead of rushing home, kicking the door down, and causing a massive scene, I cold-bloodedly downloaded the entire massive archive of her lying videos and took screenshots of every single donation transaction. I copied all the lists of the scammed donors, the statements from her hidden payment gateways, and saved every video where she publicly defamed my name. Every file upload to my secure cloud drive felt like another nail being hammered into the coffin of our once happy marriage. My shock finally gave way to a steely, unshakable determination to see her punished to the absolute fullest extent of the law. I wasn't going to let this con artist ruin my reputation as an honest officer or rob me of the right to raise my children. Having compiled an airtight digital dossier, I started the engine and headed straight for the CBD, to the people who actually know how to punish these kinds of crimes. I spent the rest of the day in the office of the best divorce lawyer in town and at the police station, officially filing reports for defamation and major financial fraud involving charity scams. The solicitor, after thoroughly reviewing the materials, was absolutely floored by the sheer scale of her duplicity and cynicism. He assured me that this evidence wouldn't just guarantee me full custody of the kids, but would strip her of any rights to our joint assets. In the Financial Crimes Detective's office, they confirmed that obtaining funds through deception qualifies as a serious criminal offence, carrying the threat of real prison time. The police immediately began the process of freezing her hidden accounts so she couldn't do a runner with the money she'd stolen from those people. I gave my statement in a completely calm, level voice, feeling like every word was scrubbing this filth off my soul. Stepping out of the station into the gathering dusk, I took a deep breath of the fresh ocean air, knowing there was no turning back now. My life as I knew it had burned to the ground, but the foundation of my honor and dignity remained completely untouched. Now, I had to return to my house and put on the mask of the perfect, loving husband for the very last time. She had started this cruel public game, and I was going to give her a finale that her subscribers would never, ever forget. The perfect moment to expose her arrived on Friday evening when Ayla launched a heavily promoted charity livestream, begging her followers to chip in for a safe apartment away from her abusive husband. She had primed her audience beforehand, publishing several posts claiming this broadcast would be her ultimate, decisive step toward freedom and saving her kids. I watched the start of the stream on my smartphone, standing right outside the closed door of her makeshift studio. On the screen, she masterfully wiped away non-existent tears, telling thousands of sympathetic women that I had supposedly left them without a cent for groceries yet again. Viewers in the chat were furiously sending her donations, attaching messages of heartfelt support, and cursing my name to hell and back. Right in the middle of her tear-jerking monologue in front of 5,000 viewers, I calmly opened the guest room door and stepped into the frame wearing my full fire and rescue captain's dress uniform. The gold buttons and gleaming epaulets on my tunic sharply contrasted with the ridiculous, washed-out jumper she had put on specifically to sell her destitute victim routine. Ayla froze with her mouth wide open, her eyes widening in primal terror as she realized her perfect performance had just been irreparably nuked. She frantically reached for the mouse to cut the feed, but I gently, yet firmly moved her hand away from the desk. I politely greeted her shocked audience, introducing myself as that very cruel monster they had heard so much about. Then, I placed a stack of paid receipts for her designer bags, photos of our luxury home, and my own bank statements right in front of my pale, trembling wife. I carefully angled these documents directly into the camera lens so that every single person who had donated their last few dollars could clearly see the truth. Live on stream, I informed the viewers that their generous donations were going exclusively toward paying for her expensive spa treatments, elite cosmetics, and designer shoes. I showed them a panoramic photo of our 2-story mansion with a pool, which she had so carefully hidden behind the thick blackout curtains of this very room. A split-second silence hit the chat, instantly followed by an absolute avalanche of furious messages from hundreds of people realizing they had been cynically played. Next, I handed my speechless wife the divorce papers and the official court order granting me sole custody of our children. I looked straight into the camera lens and added that the police had already launched an official investigation into major cyber fraud and charity money laundering. I also informed the audience that all of my wife's accounts had been frozen, and the authorities would do everything in their power to return the money to the scammed donors. While the chat exploded with the rage of deceived people demanding their money back, and Ayla threw a hysterical fit, desperately trying to cover the camera lens in a panic, I simply turned around and walked out, permanently destroying her criminal illusion. Her shrill screams and pathetic attempts to justify herself to her viewers sounded like the perfect soundtrack to the collapse of her pyramid of lies. I stepped out onto the back deck into the night, breathed in the fresh ocean breeze, and felt the unbearable weight of this betrayal finally lift off my shoulders. An honest man should never put up with hypocrisy, even if it hides behind the mask of the person closest to him. Playing on the compassion of kind-hearted people for your own financial gain is an act that always comes with the steepest price tag. What do you guys reckon? Was it fair to destroy her life live on stream in front of thousands of people? Or should I have sorted it out quietly behind closed doors without the audience? Make sure you drop your thoughts in the comments, as this story always sparks a massive debate. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more honest, shocking stories about real-life justice.